Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 3 of our commentary for Metroid Prime. Last time we arrived on planet Talon 4 and ventured into the Chozo Ruins, where we picked up the first missile expansions and the Morph Ball. And today we're going to continue exploring the ruins.
Yay.
This is going to be another game where the recaps are kind of tricky, because it's like I said, the most of the story, apart from what you uncover from logbook entries, happens at the very beginning and the very end. So it's just kind of be like, here's what power-ups we got last time.
Welcome to episode 3 of Metroid Prime. Last episode and this episode, we will be continuing through the maze that is Metroid Prime.
Yes. See, we could just copy-paste the same intro every time, and I'm sure everyone would love it.
Yeah. But, as far as the storytelling goes, it's kind of one of those games where it's just like, it will eventually tell you about, like, the events that transpired on this world, but for the large majority of the game, you just kind of live in this world that has had something happen to it. And
I love it.
Yeah, like, you get to see the outcomes, but, like, it's just kind of how things are. And, like, there's tidbits here in the Chozo lores that you get that, you know, kind of indicate what's going on, but outside of that,
so in the maelstrom of things we've talked about so far. Oh, by the way, these are shriek bats. Don't miss the ice ones.
They're your friends.
I have not yet talked about my introduction to this game, which is actually one of my fondest memories of playing it, because I did not play this game for the first time after buying it. I actually, like you, Trent, one of my relatives, my uncle, just bought a bunch of GameCube games, like when he got his GameCube, and Prime happened to be one of them. And he didn't really play it as far as I knew, but I was over at his lake property in like 2008, I think, and they just had their GameCube set up in the basement with like all the games there, and this huge like old CRT TV that was like 4 feet across.
Was it a Samsung by chance?
I have no idea, but it was awesome.
Nice.
And I got to have my first Metroid Prime experience on that TV, and
Nice.
you know, while the rest of my family was out like fishing and tubing and doing all sorts of fun lake things, I was just staying up in the wee hours of the night playing Metroid Prime for the first time. I also was not really allowed to play like violent games, quote unquote, at this stage in my life. So I was kind of doing it in secret, and it was like, oh my god, this game is so badass. When I mean, it's Metroid Prime. Like,
I mean,
I'm
it
pretty
is
sure
pretty
enemies don't
badass,
even
though.
really bleed in this game.
Yeah. But hey, you're shooting things, and that's a slippery slope, Joe.
That's true.
Well, yeah, just ask Twilight Princess.
So
That was another game I was not allowed to play, even when I was of, recommended ESRB age to play it.
He was okay to play it until his mom got wind that you could shoot a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's...
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we were just in Target one day, and we happened to be going by the Wii kiosk. This was in like November of 2006, so it was brand new, and they happened to have some footage of Twilight Princess in a demo reel, and one of the images one of the clips was of Link just firing his bow into a distant Bulblin enemy. And my mom took one look at it and she was like, "This is a killing game. You're not buying this." I'm like, Mom, I'm 13. It's Zelda. It's a fantasy.
Mom, I'm 23. I can play what I want.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. Man, my mom just pretty laissez-faire. Like, there was a time where she tried to, like, control what games I played, but then I think, like, at 11 or 12, she's just like, whatever, I'm not gonna try and police what you play over at your grandmother's house, whatever.
I was very reluctantly allowed to play rated M games when I was like 16. When I was like 16 and a half.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I waited for Resident Evil 4. I played that game on my birthday when I turned 17. God, I feel like, I should probably save this for the Metal Gear series, but I feel like part of the reason why I always go non-lethal in those games is just because of my upbringing, where I had so little exposure to, like, violent media that I'm just like every time somebody gets killed in one of those games, I'm just like, ooh, no.
Ooh, ouch.
Well, put him to sleep instead.
So, all things being said, this is actually probably one of my favorite like sleeper bosses of the game. Like the mechanics here are just really solid. Because like if you're on it and you know some of the tricks of this boss, there are so many like creative ways you can just remain aggressive and dodge those flames.
Oh yeah.
Like the strafing is
taking
really.
care of the war wasps, you mean?
Well, no, the flame, just all of it. Like, so like while you're taking care of these and those flames,
not like that.
like the mechanics here are just really great because like you can either jump, you can slide under the top one, you can jump over the basically the arms towards the center, and so like you're having to multitask dodging the flames, which become pretty erratic and fast, while shooting the war wasps, and like it's just because like in my recent like short playthrough before I died without having saved for a while, this was one of just the favorite bosses. It's just like, man, I'd say it's like the first boss that really starts like testing your coordination and familiarity with just like the inherent mechanics, because you're not doing anything other than locking on and strafing, but the combination and the execution that it demands of you for it is the first one where it's just like, this is, you're gonna have to perform.
Yeah, because of the locking on and the strafing mechanics, Prime, everybody says Prime 1, it's not a first-person shooter, it's a first-person adventure game. But, I do, in fact, subscribe to that belief, but that's kind of exemplified in the combat, where it's less about, like, where you aim, because it's pretty easy to, like, aim at what you need to hit. It's more about just, like, positioning yourself away from the enemy's attacks and firing at the right time when they're vulnerable.
And adapting
as opposed to lining up these very precise shots,
like a bullet hell game.
In this like twitchy combat environment,
and adapting to the various changing phases of the boss. Because as you solve that boss, the flames would start to go up and down instead of just being like entirely parallel, and getting a lot faster and changing directions.
Oh yeah, speaking of my initial experience playing this game at the lake house, the stone toads scared the crap out of me. Because it's just like, you go down this unassuming hallway, and all of a sudden you're face to face with like this giant creature that doesn't like react to you. It's just like sitting there, staring at you.
So
it's just standing there, menacingly.
Basically.
You've been using this mechanic that I don't think is present in the GameCube version, and I'm jealous.
Oh yeah.
Morph ball jump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot that they put it in this version.
We real Metroid fans call that the spring ball.
That's right.
So you're gonna have to turn in your fan card and get out of here, my dude.
Jokes on you, I never was in your stupid fan club.
Dang.
Yeah, you're just an honorary member because we felt sorry for you.
You heard it here first. Dan hates Metroid.
It's
Send
true.
your hate mail to dan@GearCheckGames.com.
I'm only here because they pay me.
Wait,
You pay
you
him
guys
to
are getting
pretend that he
paid.
likes Metroid.
They couldn't find anyone
yeah.
else to get it on a Metroid playthrough.
So what they're talking about is the jumping while in Morph Ball, just outright. In the GameCube version, you have to use bombs to prop yourself up, and it makes areas like this a little bit more finicky.
I guess the trade-off, though, in difficulty is that the only way to use the spring ball is by flicking the Wii remote.
Ooh.
So it's a little annoying to execute.
It brings some of the finick back.
Yeah, a bit unreliable.
I forget.
but-
Can you morph ball? Can you do the spring jump before you get the morph ball bombs?
No.
Okay.
It's added to your arsenal once you get the... So like, functionally, it's the same. It's
Yeah.
just, like, expediting...
Because that would
Well, and
probably
it also
goes higher
allow
than a normal
some
bomb
sequence
jump.
breaking if you could use it before the morph ball bombs.
Yeah, it basically just saves you 2 morph ball bombs when you do your bomb jump. Because you can just jump in the air, lay one at, like, the apex of the jump, and then jump again. Or
Which-
you could fall off the edge like an idiot.
This room
But
you're in.
like I said, the spring ball jump is actually slightly higher than what a normal bomb jump would allow you to do. So even whenever you do that to get a mid-air bomb jump, you are going slightly higher. So not that I think that brings any additional like sequence breaking, but you know, it is a thing.
Yeah.
And it
Now,
makes
this
this
room
bit
right
significantly
here,
easier.
Oh yeah. God, I did outright lie about these like sequence breaks because you're not supposed to be able to get that yet. You're actually supposed to come back here once you get the double jump, which again, real Metroid fans know as the space jump boots.
Yeah, real Metroid fans.
Yeah, I was just testing you guys there.
Well, yeah.
That's right.
I meant to say this earlier. Those little mushroom guys you keep shooting. I think I read it wrong in like a guide somewhere that the gas is poisonous on those things. So I always just avoided those things at all costs. I didn't even like shooting them.
I always avoided the gas too.
Yeah, well, it's gross. It's poo gas.
But like,
It smells like poo gas in here.
the only thing that hurts you from those things is the explosion. And if you're standing too close when you shoot them, the explosion still hits you. So it was never the gas. I was just a dumb kid.
Well,
but
that
that's
and
understandable
probably the
because
same
there
way
are,
for me is if you don't shoot them with missiles, those small ones will remain and be clouded, and you'll jump over there, hit those, explode, and be like, oh, I guess it's poisonous.
Well, and there are also other enemies in this game that, when destroyed, they do emit like a lingering cloud of poison gas.
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah, so it is a little bit visually confusing that they have the same graphic for it, and I just missed one of my runic symbols.
Yay.
You did.
You'll find it.
That's not gonna slow me down at all.
So while you're
Speedrun,
searching,
by the way.
That's right.
while you're
I
searching
remembered
for
to
that-
sequence break to get those missiles, but I did not remember the fourth runic symbol.
Yeah. There's a couple of like aesthetic things that I wanted to talk about in this game, mostly HUD related. One,
Yeah, because this scan visor is different.
yeah, the scan visor is different because you don't use the C stick to flick between your visor options. Or no, what button was it in the?
It was the C stick on the GameCube. Oh no, sorry, it was C stick for beams, D-pad for visors.
That's right. And you don't have those technically in this one. So they
Yeah,
had
what
to...
you do in this version is you hold either plus for visor or plus for beams or minus for visors, and then flick the Wii remote like up, left, or right.
Yeah.
And then your standard or your default beam and your default visor are just like a press of the plus or minus button.
Right. And
It's one of those things that's a little clunky when you're starting out, but you know, once you get used to how it works, like it just
Yeah,
works.
once it's muscle memory, it's really great.
Yeah.
Additionally, one thing I also say that like I do like for the trilogy backport of the controls, the scan visor reticule. Like I know this is an incredibly small thing, it looks so much better.
oh yeah.
Because the original GameCube one's just like two kind of like semicircle lines, and like this, like the next time you go into scan visor, it'll be, you know, very obvious. It's a very like stylized, animated, really cool like reticule.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look good. But I will say one of my gripes with the Prime Trilogy version of these games, apart from omitting like the original title screen, is that the heads-up display and a lot of aspects of this game are not properly reformatted for widescreen.
Oh yeah.
Because
That's
if
right.
you look at, like, a good example, like, look at the radar. It's an oval, not a circle. Because instead of just, like,
Are you fat
moving
shaming
all
the
of...
radar?
Okay, I'm sorry. I meant no offense, but
Ovals are an oppressed shape, Joe.
I'm sorry. I really didn't mean anything.
Justice
but,
for ovals everywhere.
So anyway, I don't know what like the programming would be like behind this, but it always kind of annoys me in re-releases of games that originally only supported like 4:3 aspect ratios when they just stretch the HUD to fit widescreen without like properly moving each individual piece.
Depending on how well organized the development was, yeah, that could be a rough transition to fix that.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, I still do like prefer to play this version of the game, but it is annoying. Especially, like, I thought of it now because of the new scan visor reticle is, you know, if you're playing this game in 4x3, that is a circle. But since, you know, I'm playing this off of the Wii U, which to my knowledge only supports like a 16:9 output, it's an oval. And it's not supposed to be an oval.
So they did retrofit 1 and 2 to be widescreen, but they just kept the original elements the same, is what you're saying?
Basically. Yeah. And there are a couple of points in the game where they do, where they have like pre-rendered cinemas using the in-game assets. And those actually look really bad because those were widescreen in the GameCube version, just like letterboxed. But in the Wii version, they just stretched the already letterboxed footage instead of just like zooming it in to crop out the letterbox. Which I actually did when I was editing this because I just thought it looked so horrible that I fixed it myself.
Oh, speaking of, if anyone noticed, we forgot to mention that we spliced in the opening title screen.
Yeah. And
because he mentioned that it wasn't in this version, but we were blatantly showing it.
Yeah, we never explained exactly why. Yeah, I recorded that from the GameCube version and tried to like replicate the settings I was using on my Wii playthrough. But I just couldn't stand to leave that title screen out because like
it's so iconic.
There's just so much nostalgia associated with that screen. It wouldn't be Prime without it.
They try to recreate that type of feel with the Prime 2 title screen as well, and I think it does a pretty good job of recapturing that, just in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. All of the Prime games have great title screens.
Additionally, like, there's a lot more to that opening title soundtrack that we don't get to hear because it just loops the original, like, the opening part of it. But, like, that song is also really good.
God, it's so good.
Oh boy. Here it comes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, speaking of things that don't loop properly, here's the first proper boss, Flaahgra.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Who in the GameCube version, at least the original NTSC release, the music track for this boss looped after like the first few phrases of the song. So it was really short and repetitive, but thankfully for the trilogy version, we get to hear the full piece. So that's nice.
It's fine. If you know what you're doing, this boss goes really quickly.
Well, okay, it goes as quickly as like you reasonably could be expected, but it's still kind of a
jarring
slow boss.
OST. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I am also going like with because like, despite the poor showing the last time that I streamed this to you guys, I can do the speedrun strats for Flaahgra, and if you do the speedrun strats, this boss is done in like a minute.
The hell?
Okay.
I don't think I ever realized that thing had a humanoid face.
Yep.
Yeah. Creepy.
It's a little hard to make out on the GameCube version, but in HD.
Yeah, I always thought it was just like a giant praying mantis thing.
Oh, this is man.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you're not really encouraged to go up and take a close look at him like right now, but like you can go up and like see his face.
Just like whisper little taunts at him. It's like,
Yeah.
Whisper sweet nothings into his ear.
You gonna take that sitting down or lying down?
But so I guess to kind of continue on with my Metroid tradition of giving, speedrunning tidbits. So the bomb switch that he just activated actually has a hitbox that kind of extends a little bit outside of the tunnel, and all it does check to see if, you need to activate it. It doesn't actually check to see if you're inside of the model. It just goes, are you grounded, morph ball, and a bomb. And so as you're sliding down off of the weirdly shaped tunnels, if you just kind of jump over there and like lay a bomb by where the hitbox is, it just counts it. So you get a skip, throwing down the mirrors, get a skip, waiting for him to fall, and just
watching this cutscene again and again and again 4 times or 3 times.
Well, you do have to watch the cutscene, unfortunately.
Oh.
You can't skip the cutscene, but because the bomb trigger does trigger the cutscene.
Flaahgra, why didn't you just activate all 4 mirrors from the beginning?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad he didn't, because this boss would be like way longer if he did, but...
So, you've run into it a couple times like you did just now, but every time I discovered something on my last playthrough of Prime which I did on hard mode, by the way. Don't do that if you like yourself. It lives up to the name.
Yeah.
When he does that ground pound and all the leaves spawn on the ground, I discovered, like, not only does it just damage the crap out of you, if you morph into your morph ball too soon and get caught in that, you'll just get stuck in there because it makes your movement speed just like a fifth of what it should be.
I feel like that's happened to me at least once. And it was not a good time, as you might imagine.
And like,
Not only is it a good time, it's so poorly explained that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That it's just like, ugh.
so like, I think you can only get up to this point in the game at least 2 energy tanks, maybe not any more than what you have right now.
Well, there is a third one that I don't have yet, but that I think I'm going to go for before this part is... Well, no, I think in the beginning of the next part. There's one up on a ledge in, like, the main courtyard of the Chozo Ruins.
Yeah.
That you can only access via, like, a really roundabout route.
Yeah.
But you can... I think the max energy tanks you can have before Flaahgra is 3.
Yeah,
Because
without
defeating
some
this
major...
boss is going to give us a very, very important power-up that lets us go into superheated areas.
Aw, yeah.
Right, it gives us our
Guess what it
shoulders.
is? Yeah.
Yep, and so for any Metroid fans, this is the iconic Varia suit.
Yeah, we about to get a
Well, that's a big
makeover,
red
boys.
flower, but the various suits over
yeah.
here.
How
That's
could
the
you do
various
that? How could you do that to my boy Venusaur? Why would you hurt him like that?
I don't know, man.
Because Blastoise is the
It's
best.
pretty mutated Venusaur. Hint, hint for later spoilers of what this story is about.
Yeah.
It's actually a Pokemon tie-in.
Next mutation.
That's right. But so for the record, you know, this game is
T-pose.
definitely
For
as we've harped on and praised the storytelling in this game. There was a couple of small logs and scannable objects on the frigate, which would, you know, kind of give an indication of where the story plot's going to be going pretty soon. And so there is a reason there's a giant weird flower praying mantis guy.
Yeah.
Here.
So in the interest of, you know, not wasting our viewers' time more than necessary, I elected to not show off the majority of scan entries. But I would recommend reading them, especially, again, if you're playing the game for the first time, because they really add a lot of context and atmosphere to the, you know, going through these various areas, because on the one hand, you have the Chozo logs where, you know, basically there's an ancient Chozo civilization on this planet that has since gone extinct in the wake of some cataclysmic event that, like, poisoned the planet.
Poison the water hole.
Basically.
Well, I mean, you were actually just purifying some of the water there, so...
Yeah, now that we've defeated Flaahgra, the water in the Chozo Ruins is no longer hazardous to us, so that's nice.
Time to leave the ruins.
And then, of course, once we start to go to more of the space pirate areas, we'll get their thoughts on, like, what they're doing on the planet right now. And, you know, as we've mentioned countless times before, they do have some rather humorous log entries.
All right,
involving trying to reverse engineer morph balls.
But unfortunately, Samus fell and died, and so that's it.
She didn't get her Longfall boots upgrade yet.
That was my little tribute to Trey's Kingdom Hearts playthrough. So
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Next episode, we will be visiting Sora and Samus's leg doctor.
Yeah, next episode we'll be guiding a wheelchair-bound Samus to glory and more power-ups. So join us then.
Bye.